What is the worst version of you to have existed? The me I'm living now. At the height of my drinking. Drunk almost every night. Did a lot of bad things those years. My middle school, specifically 8th grade version. The current one. Unfortunately. The mirror universe one from that Star Trek episode where everyone has a goatee. Realtor version. And I'm a recovering addict. Realtor me had 4,500 Facebook friends. Because networking. Brew. I don't even know 4,500 people. WTF was I even doing? At least tweaker me wasn't pretending to be friends with an Albanian scammer. My super Mormon self. I was a miserable stay-at-home mom who got married at 19, and I had no personality because all of it was just Mormonism. I had no identity outside of that. Looking back now, it felt like I was a robot. Now I am 29 and goth mom with tattoos. Never felt more like myself in my life. 2020-2021 version. The only version of myself I'd beat the crap out of. Heavy drinking to the point of losing a good job. Alienated my family. And lost the love of a very special woman. 13-14-year-old me. I was terrible. I ran with a really bad crowd. I did a lot of fighting. I snuck out at night. Even participated in the theft and joyride of an SUV. I'm certain if Snapchat or Instagram existed at the time I would have done something to ruin my life. Anyway, my dad went to prison my freshman year. And it was a giant wake-up call. Ended up trying to turn shit around. Migrated to a different group of friends. Started thinking about making the most of high school. I suppose I turned out okay. The one where I had success early in life and never had the shitty views I had formed as a teenager. Questioned. The jealous one who always felt he deserved more. Took longer than it should have to realize I need to earn it. High school me. I was insecure and snarky and negative and mean. And I didn't have to be. Height of my mental health crisis. I was really toxic and just an annoying person to be round. I feel bad for the people around me who were either victims of my toxicness or just generally had to deal with me. The height of my pill addiction. While house sitting, I knew the owner had medical issues, which meant they would have pills. Being the addict I was, I found them fairly quickly. I'm sure I should have died that weekend. Atavans 5 mg. And I think I popped 5. I don't remember much of anything for those 4 days. It's very scary. Very embarrassing. After I sobered up, I owned it and apologized. We're still friends. I'm sober 6 years now. When I was a mean kid, I know it was a trauma response, but it hurts my heart to know that I wasn't a good friend or family member to the people I love. 24-25-year-old me. Drinking all the time while on heavy medication and acting like a complete trashy human being for like an entire year. When I was taking psychiatric medicine for a misdiagnosis, learned of the actual diagnosis many years later. The wrong medication made me extremely angry. Always hungry. Sleeping way too much or not sleeping at all. I was a zombie and stupid. Self-harmed nearly every day. The medication made me worse. Couldn't work. Couldn't remember anything. And had zero motivation. Lost relationships and my entire 20s. The entire time. They weren't treating the correct issues. I was really angry about it for a couple years. Middle school and freshman me. So much politics. So much mental instability. So much league. The me that tied my self-worth to whether men found me sexually attractive. I've grown a lot since then, and not only that but realized I was dealing with some pretty serious internalized homophobia directed solely at myself, and came out as a lesbian. I'm hoping to meet a girl who doesn't mind I'm a bit special and also wants to dig up Henry VIII as much as I do. 17-year-old me to 24-year-old me was never in a gang, and usually targeted criminals. But I was very aggressive in my ways of earning money. Made a lot of enemies that resulted in getting shot at 24. Life has been a lot less stressful since. Self-defeating. Head perpetually up my own ass. Chronically unproductive and lacking any real motivation to improve. And too immature to be the man my so at the time deserved. Grew out of it eventually. Now I'm just vanilla-flavored stupid. The addicted one. 8 years ago. I had no music taste, hobbies or any other interests besides just studying. I was quite linear with how I viewed life in general. The last 6 months, me and my ex saw the worst of each were stuck in our addiction. We did things we would never do. Couple years ago I got really depressed. Forgot how to act and managed to fuck up every friendship I had without realizing it. I'm all good now though. Moved away and started over. Every time I look back at myself a few years ago, no matter how old I get, I cringe. I guess is a good thing because it means I'm constantly growing. But by far my worst was 10 years ago in my mid-20s. I was in a new place with no support system. Severe depression and being gaslit at every turn by a manipulative person I thought I was close to. Looking back, I can't correlate my actions with who I am as a person. It's like I have the memories of a completely different person who looked identical to me. I used to gaslight. I'm ashamed in myself. I had a much-needed wake-up call a few years back. When all the things I worked for turn out right. It made me arrogant, egoistic and greedy. That destroyed so much, and I needed to start from scratch. Happened to X in the past 12 years. My life is a weird cycle of self-sabotage and success. Glass house. White Ferrari. Live for New Year's Eve. Sloppy steaks at Truffoni's. Big rare cut of meat with water dumped all over it. Water splashing around the table. Makes the night so much more fun. After the club go to Truffoni's for sloppy steaks. They'd say no sloppy steaks, but they can't stop you from ordering a steak and a glass of water. Before you knew it, we were dumping that water on those steaks. The waiters were coming to try and snatch em up. We had to eat as fast as we could. I stayed drunk in my adolescence. A version of me I never want to be again. Drunk. 14-16 aged me. God, I was insufferable back then. Fortunately, the only real lasting thing connecting me to that version is this username. 19 when I got my first corporate white-collar job. My parents never taught me office politics and my dad actively shit on everyone. So I had a pretty terrible attitude at work. I was smart and worked hard. But if I had even a shred of the social skills I should have had, I'd be doing much better right now. I'm not doing terrible by any means. But I should have worked up to VP or something by now. Probably hate the 16-year me the most. Wasn't coping well and I kept expressing it in the dumbest ways. Which makes me feel bad. Christian me. What a joke. IMO. Me in 2020. Far-right asshole back then. The one in which I achieved success early in life and never had the skewed opinions I had developed as a youth called into question.